Lagos at dawn. The day began long before sunrise. In a private apartment high above the streets of Victoria Island, Lagos, Eric Adeoye stood on his balcony, suit jacket draped over one arm. Far below, taxis honked and vendors argued about plan and prices, but up here all was glass, marble, and silence. Eric, to himself, quiet. Another city, another boardroom, and still no one to come home to. Inside, his personal assistant, Ada, waited with an iPad. She was smart, fast-talking, and the only person who dared speak to Eric like a friend. Ada, your 9 a.m. board meeting in Johannesburg is confirmed, sir. Pilot says wheels up at 7. Eric, forcing a smile. Thank you, Ada. Same plane, same coffee. Ada, lowering her voice, and the same empty calendar after Friday. Maybe take a break. Eric, buttoning his cufflinks, breaks are for people who can't keep up. He walked out, polished shoes echoing against marble, the picture of control. Yet his eyes stayed distant, as if something precious waited just beyond reach. Storm warnings. At Murtala Mohammed International Airport, gray clouds bulged over the runway. A harmattan wind kicked dust across the tarmac. Inside the VIP lounge, airline staff whispered about weather alerts. Ada checked her tablet again. Ada, worried, thunderstorms all over the Gulf of Guinea. Your flight path isn't safe. Eric, corporate jet can handle a little rain. Pilot, entering quickly. Mr. Adeoye, ATC, just grounded all departures to South Africa. Severe squall lines, turbulence off the charts. Eric's jaw tightened. Schedules ruled his life. Delays were unacceptable. Eric clipped how long. Pilot, earliest window is tomorrow afternoon. Ada, gently, sir. Perhaps reschedule the meeting virtually? Eric, already opening his phone, dialed the chairman in Johannesburg. Eric, Colonel, the storm is airports locked. I can still make it by morning if I drive to Port Harcourt, catch a short hop from there. Voice on phone, crackling. Eric, that's 10 hours on those roads. Just join by video. Eric, you know investors want to see us together in the same room. Eric ended the call and turned to Ada. Eric, arrange a car. I'll leave now. Ada, at least take a driver. Eric, shaking head, I need to think. Alone. Ada knew better than to argue when his voice went that flat. She ordered the company's armored Range Rover anyway, added bottled water, a flask of Ada's special ginger tea, and placed a tiny first aid kit in the glove box, just in case. Into the interior. By noon, the storm clouds had moved inland. Eric pushed the SUV southeast along the Benin, or road, rain needling the windshield. Trucks swayed in spray, potholes filled with brown water. His phone buzzed nonstop. Directors, lawyers, an ex-girlfriend he still hadn't deleted. One by one, he declined. Somewhere past Benin City, the radio crackled to life. Radio host. Heavy rainfall warning across Edo and Delta states. Motorists advised to avoid the old forest bypass near Akamu National Park due to flooding. Eric frowned. The main highway was clogged. The forest bypass would shave 2 hours off. He glanced at the fuel gauge. Plenty. Eric, to himself, will risk it. Time is money. He swung onto the narrower route. Tall mahogany trees arched overhead, their leaves forming a green tunnel. The rain softened to a steady hush, and for the first time all day, the phone's signal dropped to 0. Silence. He exhaled, surprised at the relief that followed. No calls, no expectations, just the rhythmic sweep of wipers and the scent of wet earth. Memories drifted in. Mama's pepper soup in Abbey Okuda, soccer games with cousins, the laughter of a life before billion-dollar deals. Eric, whispering what happened to that boy. Voices in the rain. Several kilometers deeper, a rust-colored Toyota flashed its hazards, stopped sideways across the muddy track. Eric slowed. A man in soaked Ankara fabric waved frantically. Stranded man, shouting boss. A beg, help me push, car don't die. The billionaire considered for a heartbeat. Every security advisor had warned him. Forest roads were prime territory for scams and robberies. Yet the man looked genuinely desperate, the car's bonnet spewing steam. Eric rolled down the window, just enough that rain spattered his sleeve. Eric, battery, or radiator? Man, out of breath, radiator burst, sir. My wife get labor pains. Hospital day for homicide. Please. Eric's eyes darted to the back seat. Through foggy glass, he saw a woman clutching her belly, face contorted. Instinct overruled caution. Eric, unlocking doors, put her in the back. I'll drive you to the clinic at Udo Junction. The man hurried. As they transferred the woman, thunder rumbled overhead. Within minutes, Eric was back behind the wheel, strangers in tow. Pregnant woman, weak. To Eric, God bless you, sir. Eric, soft, hold on. We'll get you help. 10 minutes later, with the hospital lights visible through trees, the woman gasped and then laughed. Her eyes cleared. No pain. Eric, puzzled, are you all right? Woman, suddenly calm, perfectly. The man behind Eric whispered something in her ear. She nodded. Eric's pulse spiked. Too late. He felt cold steel against his neck. Man low, dangerous phone, wallet watch. Now, Eric cursed himself. A billionaire out of armor, fooled by a roadside drama. He lifted both hands from the steering wheel. Eric, steady, take them. But the clinic is right there. Let the woman out. Woman, smirking, which woman? You be like you know day, see clearly. Oga. Her accent changed, her belly now obviously a stuffed pillow. The man grabbed Eric's wristwatch, platinum, limited edition, then reached for the phone. Suddenly, blinding headlights beamed from behind. A police truck? No, just a battered bus accelerating fast. The robbers panicked. Man, hissing, move. Move. Eric slammed the accelerator. The Range Rover lurched forward, the bus tailgate, horn blaring. Rain hammered down, vision shrinking. Up ahead, the dirt track curved around a mossy cliffside drop, roots exposed by years of erosion. Seconds before midnight, the robbers argued in Yoruba, punches flying inside the car. The fake pregnant woman grabbed the steering wheel, fighting Eric for control. Eric, gritting teeth, let go, you'll kill us. Woman, shrill, better you than us. The bus behind kept pressing, its driver oblivious to the struggle inside the SUV. A bolt of lightning split the sky, and for one frozen heartbeat, Eric saw the cliff's jagged edge less than 10 meters ahead. Eric, hoarse shout, hold tight. He yanked the wheel left, stomping the brake. Muddy tires skidded. ABS chattered. The SUV fishtailed, slammed sideways into a fallen log, then vaulted into nothingness. Inside the cabin, gravity vanished. The robber screamed. Eric's seatbelt locked, bruising his shoulder. Rain and engine oil swirled together like dark paint as the vehicle smashed through undergrowth, rocks punching metal, glass exploding. Finally, with a deafening crunch, the Range Rover struck a cluster of Irako roots and stopped. Steam hissed. Darkness followed. No witnesses. Hours or minutes later, time meant nothing. Eric's eyelids fluttered. Pain roared through his ribs. Warm blood trickled from his temple. The robbers? Silent. He couldn't turn his head to check. Above, tree canopies hid the road. No light, no sound of engines, only rain dripping from leaves. From the highway, the vehicle was invisible, buried deep among vines and ferns. Eric tried the door. Jammed. He coughed, tasted iron. Somewhere outside, a nightjar called, its lonely whistle echoing across the ravine. Eric, groaning, help anybody. No answer, only the forest breathing. He reached for his phone pocket. Empty. Wallet gone. Even the watch had been ripped from his wrist in the crash. Wind picked up, swaying treetops like black waves above his shattered world. Thunder rolled farther south, but rain kept falling, steady and cold. Eric rested his forehead against the airbag, eyes fluttering shut again. Headlines in the city. Back in Lagos, Ada sat in the office war room, staring at a blank tracker map on the screen. Eric's GPS locator had stopped transmitting 3 hours ago. She dialed his number for the 10th time. Straight to voicemail. Ada, to corporate security chief, find him. Trace every camera on that route. Chief, we have drones launching at Dawn. Military-grade FLIR. We'll locate heat signatures. Ada, swallowing hard, do it. Across business news channels, a banner scrolled. Breaking. Nigerian billionaire Eric Adeoye missing after storm-related flight cancellation. Stock prices of his holding company dipped. Investors demanded statements. But none of them knew a battered Range Rover lay hidden under a quilt of green, its passenger bleeding, heartbeat slowing, a quiet life or loud legacy hanging in the balance. The forest closes in. Night deepened. Fireflies drifted among buttress roots like cautious lanterns. Inside the wreck, Eric faded in and out, memories mixing with dreams. His mother singing, board members clapping, Ada nagging him to rest. Somewhere nearby, water gurgled, perhaps a stream. Frogs croaked. A hyrax shrieked. Life moved on, indifferent to the man crushed under bent steel. Eric, barely audible, not yet. I'm not finished. With a final shred of strength, he dragged his left hand toward the center console. His fingers brushed the flask of Ada's ginger tea, miraculously unbroken. He tipped it, drops landing on his lips, burning sweet alive. Lightning flashed once more, illuminating the dense forest. Then darkness swallowed all, and the woods kept their new secret. Eric's breath grew shallow, but did not stop. Gathering firewood. The morning after the storm, pale sunlight filtered through the Akama forest. Molly Udo, 23, balanced a battered machete on her shoulder while her younger sister Fiona, 20, kicked at damp leaves. Their village lay a kilometer east, a scatter of clay brick houses with tin roofs that rattled in every wind. Fiona, grumbling, if Mama hadn't traveled to ABA, we wouldn't be out here like bush spirits. Molly, teasing, firewood doesn't walk itself home, my sister. They laughed, but the forest still felt strange. Broken branches, tire ruts gouged deep into mud. The wreck. A metallic glint caught Molly's eye. Through tangled vines lay a black SUV, crumpled like a kicked can. Steam curled upward. Molly, whispering, Fiona, there's a car down there. Fiona, backing away, leave it. Could be police, Walla, or Molly. Someone might be hurt. She scrambled down the slope, boots skidding. Inside, a man hung half-conscious against a deflated airbag. Blood streaked his forehead. One leg was pinned onto the dashboard. Molly, urgent, pressing 2 fingers to his neck, he's alive. Fiona, from above, alive today, trouble tomorrow. Molly, we have nothing. No doctor, no money. Molly, help me or go home. I can't leave him. Fiona cursed under her breath, but slid down anyway. Together, they pried the door until hinges screamed. Molly found a seatbelt cutter in the glove box and freed the stranger. A wheelbarrow rescue. They dragged him through ferns until Fiona's arms shook. Near the path, an old wheelbarrow, rusty, used for cassava harvest, leaned against a tree. Molly tipped it forward. Fiona, eyes wide, you want to push a full-grown man like firewood? Molly, steady, you said we had nothing. We still have wheels. Grunting, they heave him in. The wheels squeaked all the way to the village, passing elderly women who stared, children who pointed, and one dog that barked until Fiona shooted. The Udo compound. Their home had 2 rooms, a cooking shed, and a blue plastic drum for rainwater. Molly cleared Mama's bed, laying the stranger gently on raffia mats. Fiona lit a kerosene lantern even though daylight remained. It calmed her nerves. Molly's nursing came from years of caring for goats and little cousins. Wash wounds first, stop bleeding, keep fever down. She boiled water on a charcoal stove, mixed ground bitter leaf with shea butter, and cleaned the gash on his temple. Fiona, arms crossed, you'll use our last Dettel for a man who could be a thief? Molly, wringing cloth, or he could be someone's father, someone's son. Fiona, softening a beat fine. But if police come, I'll tell them you dragged him here. That night, thunder rumbled distant, yet the stranger's breathing grew steady. Molly dozed on a stool beside the bed. Fiona slept with one eye open. Amnesia. Roosters crowed the next dawn. The man stirred, eyelids fluttering. Man, hoarse whisper, water. Molly rushed with a cup. He drank, coughed. Molly, gentle, you're safe. We found you in the forest. Man, frowning forest? I don't remember. Fiona, watching from doorway convenient. Molly, shooting her a look, what's your name? Man, after a long pause, Eric. Just Eric. Molly, Eric Adioi? Eric, shaking head, wincing at pain, surname blurred. Only Eric stays. He touched his bandaged leg, confusion clouding his gaze. Fiona stepped closer, skeptical. Fiona, do you know where you live? Eric, no. Fiona, to Molly, see? He's faking. Real amnesia only happens in Nollywood films. Molly, firm, injuries to the head can block memory. Let him recover. Days of healing. Day 3. Rain-pounded zinc sheets. Molly spoon-fed Eric thin yam porridge. Fiona sat by the window shelling groundnuts, commenting on everything. Fiona, he hasn't told us any family number. If he dies, we bury him where? Molly, he's not dying. Eric, quiet. To Fiona, thank you for allowing me here. Fiona, snorts, I didn't. Day 5. Eric managed to sit up against pillows. Molly checked his pupils with a torch. Molly, head still spinning. Eric, less. Your medicine helps. Fiona, passing door, that was Mama's final Panadol packet, in case you care. Eric, guilty, I'll repay. Fiona, repay with what? Memories. Day 7. Molly helped him to the courtyard on crutches carved from bamboo. Evening light painted everything gold. A neighbor girl giggled at the sight of a tall stranger wobbling like a newborn goat. Eric, breathing hard, thank you for patience. Molly, smiles, walk every day, the leg will mend. Fiona, from kitchen, loud enough, if thieves come looking, don't say I didn't warn you. Clash of sisters. That night, while Eric slept, the sisters argued in hushed tones outside. Fireflies blinked between them. Fiona, frustrated, we eat Gary twice a day because salary is late, yet you cook meat for him. Molly, he needs protein to heal. Fiona, voice cracking, and I need a sister who thinks of us first. Molly, softly, I am thinking of us. Imagine if someone found Mama lost on a highway. Wouldn't we pray they showed mercy? Fiona turned away, wiping a tear. Mercy can kill, too. Burdens and small miracles. Day 10. Eric tried sweeping the yard with his good arm. Fiona snatched the broom. Fiona, you'll reopen your stitches. Sit. Eric, I must repay you somehow. Fiona, muttering, repay by disappearing when you're strong. Day 13. A traveling teacher visited, selling worn-out books. Eric spotted one. Business Basics for West African Traders. Something in him tingled. He flipped pages, understood balance sheets instantly. Memory flickered, boardrooms, graphs, people in suits clapping. Then it vanished. Eric, to Molly, bewildered, my mind knows these numbers, but not why. Molly, encouraging, memory returns like dawn light, little by little. Day 15. Fiona caught a fever. Molly mixed herbs while Eric, limping but steadier, washed the dishes. When Fiona woke later, Eric offered her boiled rice. She studied him, seeing not dead weight but a man trying. Fiona, weak smile, thanks. Eric, nods, rest. We will manage. Dead weight no more. One starry night, the three of them sat outside on a wooden bench. Crickets chirped. Eric supported his leg on a stool. Fiona hugged a shawl, and Molly poked a small fire. Eric, quiet, I don't remember my past, but I know this. You saved my life. Fiona, shrugs, but softer than before. Starving men aren't useful to us. Heal fast. Molly, laughing, that's her way of saying you're welcome. Eric smiled, grateful for even that grudging warmth. Above them, a falling star streaked across the sky. Molly, closing eyes, whispering, make a wish. Eric, thoughtful. Under breath, I wish to find the truth and repay kindness. Fiona glanced at him, skepticism still there, but curiosity growing. The forest beyond rustled gently, holding its secrets. Inside the modest compound, life shifted. A billionaire with no memory, a cautious sister, and a stubborn young woman who believed every life had value. For now, that was enough. Village weeks. 3 weeks slipped by like quiet rain. Eric now woke up to rooster calls instead of car horns. When dawn painted the sky pink, he carried buckets from the stream, swept the yard, and cracked palm kernels with smooth stones. His limp was almost gone, and every neighbor in Acoma village knew his soft, good morning, long before they learned his story. Old Kimmy, teasing city man, your hands are too clean for firewood. Eric, smiling, wiping sweat, give me one more week, Mama Kimmy. They'll be village hands. Farming lessons. One hot afternoon, Molly led him to a small plot behind the house. Molly, handing him a hoe. Time to turn the soil. Push, lift, breathe. Eric, digging, puffing, board meetings were never this heavy. Molly laughs, but the earth never lies. Treat it well, it feeds you back. They planted melon seeds in straight rows. Eric watched her move, sure-footed, patient. Dirt got under his fingernails, and somehow that felt right. When a cool breeze rose, they paused under an irako tree, sharing roasted corn. Eric, soft life feels quiet here. Molly, quiet is not empty. Listen, you'll hear plenty. Bird song, children's laughter in the distance, distant hammers on tin roofs. Rich music he had ignored all his life. Cooking and laughter. Evenings smelled of smoke and stew. Molly showed him how to pound yam while she stirred a goosey soup. Molly, grinning, use your back, not your arms, or the pestle wins. Eric, grimacing, arms shaking, the pestle is winning anyway. When the yam turned smooth, she tasted a spoonful, nodded, and they ate together on a wooden bench. He joked about opening Eric's pounded yam palace someday. Molly laughed so hard she spilled her soup, and the night felt bright even without electricity. Fiona's cruel watch. But Fiona watched every step like a restless hawk. One morning, she counted the dried fish hanging from the rafter. Fiona, suspicious, 3 yesterday. Now 2. Did you take one? Eric, no. Perhaps the cat. Fiona, eyes narrowed, cats don't reach that high. Later, she caught him washing the mud off his trousers by the well. In a sudden burst of temper, she flung a basin of cold water over him. Fiona, shouting, stop wasting soap. It costs money. Eric, soaked, only nodded. I'm sorry. He never raised his voice. He wrung out his shirt and kept scrubbing. Molly arrived, shocked. Molly, firm to Fiona, this is our home, not a battlefield. Fiona, turning away, homes need protection. Still, Eric swept the floor each night, patched the leaking roof, and left the last roasted plantain for Fiona without a word. Market day discovery. For Saturdays later, Molly walked to the dusty market square with a basket of peppers. She sold them quickly, then bought groundnuts wrapped in yesterday's newspaper. While waiting for change, a bold headline caught her eye. Billionaire Eric Tucker still missing. Search enters 4th week. Below, a photograph. Same kind eyes, same sharp jaw, minus the beard he now wore. Molly, whisper, stunned Eric. Tucker, hands trembling. She traded an extra pepper for the full newspaper, folded it, and hurried home. The joke that wasn't. Evening shadows stretched long when she reached the compound. Eric was repairing a wobbly stool. Fiona shelled beans in silence. Molly, waving paper, light tone look. They say a billionaire is lost. He kind of looks like you. Eric wiped sawdust from his hands, took the paper, and squinted at the photo. A flicker passed through his eyes, flash gone like lightning behind clouds. He laughed, though it sounded thin. Eric, handsome fellow, but I doubt he can pound him like me. Molly, relieved chuckle, true. His suit would get dirty. Fiona snatched the paper. Fiona, reading, slower, reward, 10 million naira for information. She stared at Eric, lips tight. Eric, meeting her gaze, Fiona, I don't remember riches. Only your kindness. She tossed the paper onto the bench and walked inside. Night of flashbacks. The lantern burned low when Eric lay down. Outside, crickets chirped. He closed his eyes, and the forest lifted, replaced by blinding lights. A helicopter whirring over Lagos rooftops. A glass boardroom full of people clapping as he signed a contract. Reporters shouting, cameras flashing. Mr. Tucker, sir. Over here. Suddenly, he was falling again, metal screeching, rain slamming his face. He jolted awake, heart racing. Sweat soaked his mat. "Eric," whispered to the dark Tucker. "Eric Tucker." Pieces spun in his head. Company logos, stock tickers, a skyscraper with his name. His breathing quickened until Molly's soft snores reminded him where he truly was. He sat up, pressed his palms together, and tried to calm the storm inside. The paper lay on the bench by the window, headline glowing faintly in moonlight. He touched it, half afraid. Dawn questions. At first light, he found Molly boiling water. Eric, quiet. Molly, what if that article is true? Molly, pouring tea. Gentle, then you were someone important. But here, you are just Eric, our friend. Eric, I dreamed of tall buildings, helicopters. It felt real. Molly, memories are rivers. When they rise, don't drown. We'll cross together. Fiona emerged, eyes tired but sharp. Fiona, if you're the missing billionaire, say it now. People are looking. Eric, softly, I wish I knew. Fiona, wish or hide? 10 million could change this village. Molly stepped between them. Molly, money won't rule us. When his mind clears, we'll decide. Fiona pursed her lips, but said no more. She slammed the cooking pot a little harder than necessary, though. Quiet resolve. That afternoon, Eric sat under the Irako tree alone, the newspaper folded on his lap. Children chased a rag football nearby. He traced the headline letters again and again until ink smudged his fingertips. He remembered balance sheets and shareholder votes, but also Molly's laugh and the taste of fresh palm wine. Two worlds tugged at him, one of glass and steel, one of mud and moonlight. He whispered a promise to the waving grass. Eric, when I know the truth, I'll honor both lives, the one I lost and the one you gave me. A gentle wind answered, carrying the scent of ripening yam leaves. That night, thunder rumbled far off, as if warning of change. Inside the humble house, Molly prayed softly, Fiona stared at the ceiling, and Eric lay awake, eyes open to the darkness, waiting. Dawn remembered. When the first rooster crowed, Eric woke with crystal-clear thoughts. Dates, passwords, board structures. Everything snapped in a place like glass returning to a window. He sat on the edge of the mat, trembling, not from pain but from the weight of the truth. Eric, whisper Eric Tucker, CEO, Tuck Holdings, 82% share. Across the room, Molly still slept, and in the next room, Fiona breathed softly. Eric's eyes stung. He pulled a sheet of school paper from Fiona's arithmetic book and began to write. Letter, neat, careful. Molly, Fiona, you found me when I was lost in every way. You gave me life without knowing my name. I must return to a world that thinks I'm dead, but I will come back. Please believe that. Eric. He folded the note, placed it beside the kettle, and slipped out into the mist. Rode to the city. By sunrise, Eric hired a motorcycle to the nearest town, then a battered bus toward Benin City. An internet cafe. He logged into his dormant corporate email. Security alerts cascaded across the screen. Account disabled after 30 days of inactivity. He reset passwords, answered authentication questions only the real Eric Tucker could know. Servers reopened like guarded gates. Cafe clerk, astonished, seeing ID pop up. Oga, you be that billionaire way TV day find? Eric, smiling, finger to lips, please. Quiet for now. He called the family lawyer on a borrowed phone. Eric, it's Tucker. I'm alive. Lawyer, stunned, sir. You knew said, where are you? Eric, headquarters by noon. Freeze nothing. Cancel nothing. And keep cameras away. Media firestorm. At Tuck Towers in Lagos, directors gasped as the elevator doors opened, and their missing chairman stepped out in worn village clothes. Phones whipped out. Shutters clicked. Director Cunnell, breathless. Eric, we thought you died. Eric, come, meeting room, 10 minutes. No press. But outside, news vans already blocked the street. Banners crawled across every Nigerian channel. Eric Tucker found alive in rural rescue drama. Reporters shouted questions. Drones buzzed overhead. Eric raised a hand once, then walked straight past. Inside, he signed documents reclaiming accounts, authorized salary back payments, and revalidated charitable funds. CFO, sir, the board wants a televised statement. Eric, firm, no interviews. Draft a single press note. Mr. Tucker thanks the public for concern and requests privacy. That is all. Preparations for return. Evening lights glittered over Akoi as Eric stood in his penthouse. Marble floors, panoramic windows, silence colder than before. He touched designer suits that suddenly felt like costumes. Then he opened a travel duffel and packed simple clothes. 2 shirts, jeans, a pair of work boots, and a small wooden box containing cash and a newly written check. His assistant, Ada, stepped in, eyes wet. Ada, sir, doctors, psychologists, even the president's office want appointments. Eric, gentle, tell them I'm taking sick leave. Ada, hesitating, destination. Eric, home, just not the one with marble. He wired a private transfer to the Udo sisters' local bank. Enough to rebuild their house twice over. Marked anonymous. Then he booked a single seat on the night bus heading back toward the forest, refusing the company helicopter. On the move again. As Lagos traffic roared beneath bridge lights, Eric sat by a window in the dim bus, cap pulled low. The city faded behind him. He reread a photo of Molly and Fiona he had secretly taken with his phone before leaving. Molly laughing, Fiona half smiling at last. Eric, soft promise to the dark road. I'm coming back, not as a stranger, but as a neighbor. The engine growled, and the bus rolled toward the quiet village where gratitude and maybe love were waiting. A convoy in the dust. A month later, the quiet road to Akamu village rumbled like thunder. First came 2 glittering SUVs, then a sleek black limousine, then another pair of escort cars. Dust rose behind them like a golden flag. Children chased the convoy, shouting, "Big man! Big man!" Chickens scattered. Outside the Udo compound, Molly knelt by her vegetable bed, weeding. She lifted her head in surprise as uniformed drivers opened doors. Cameramen kept back. Eric had insisted. No press past the village gate. From the limousine stepped Eric Tucker in a simple white kaftan. No tie, no watch worth a house, just a calm smile. He walked straight across the yard, past curious neighbors, and stopped before Molly. The proposal. Molly's mouth fell open. Molly, breathless. Eric, you came back. Eric, soft, kneeling in the dust. You found me when I was nobody. Now the whole world knows my name, but I only want one person to call it. He opened a small wooden box. Inside, not a diamond as big as gossip pages predicted, but a delicate gold band engraved with tiny yam leaves. Eric, Molly Udo, you saved my life. Will you let me spend all of it loving you? Tears filled Molly's eyes. She glanced at her calloused hands, then at the convoy, then back to the man kneeling in her garden. Molly, voice shaking, yes, yes, Eric, I will. Cheers erupted. Old Kemi ululated. The children danced in circles. Fiona's reckoning. Fiona stood frozen by the doorway, basket of beans forgotten. Memories flashed, her harsh words, the cold water she'd thrown, the nights she had doubted him. Now Africa's most talked about billionaire bowed before her sister. Fiona, whispering, tears rising, I was blind. Eric rose, dust on his knees, and faced her. Eric, gentle, you protected your family. That is no fault. Fiona covered her face and wept. Molly pulled her into an embrace, whispering, we move forward together. A wedding for the ages. 2 weeks later, white canopies bloomed across the village square. The president sent roses. Business tycoons flew in by helicopter, but Eric insisted every guest eat the same jollof rice Mama Kemi had supervised. Molly wore a lace gown sewn by local tailors. Her veil was stitched with tiny melon seeds for good harvest. When the priest said, you may kiss the bride, fireworks cracked above palm trees. Social media crashed under the hashtag billionaire weds village angel. Yet, amidst the flashbulbs, Eric's eyes stayed on Molly alone. Fiona, now maid of honor, wiped tears that were a mix of regret and joy. Legacy of love. Months later, Bulldozers and architects swarmed an empty field near the forest. Out of red earth rose the Molly Udo Memorial Hospital, state-of-the-art wards, a maternity center, and a trauma wing in case any traveler ever skidded off a rainy road again. Beside it stood Udo Tucker Primary School, walls painted sky blue, stocked with tablets and storybooks. At the ribbon cutting, Molly, now visibly pregnant, held Eric's arm. Reporters asked for speeches. Eric kept it short. Eric, I once lost everything in these woods and was given it back by two sisters with nothing to spare. May this place give back for generations. Fiona, now head administrator of the school, rang a brass bell. Children streamed in, uniforms crisp, faces bright. Final scene. As sunset bled through the Irako leaves, Molly and Eric strolled the hospital corridor. Nurses waved, patients smiled. They stepped outside where evening birds sang. Eric looked at the village horizon. No skyscrapers, just endless green. Eric, quietly to Molly, this is worth more than any stock I ever owned. Molly, resting head on his shoulder, home is not built with money, Eric. It's built with hearts that refuse to give up. He kissed her forehead. Behind them, lights flicked on in the new school, casting a warm glow across the land. Proof that a broken billionaire had found something richer than fortune, a place to belong and a love that saved them all.